Hello, all of my sleepy bears. My name's Chronically Blue. Welcome to Team Attack Amigo. I originally planned to do this with Starmeister. However, after editing issues and time constraints, we were unable to do that. So, I'm here to talk to you about Team Attack Amigo. What is it? Well, it is where we go through some of the different levels with some of the sidekick characters in order to see what all they have, what could possibly have come if they had a bit more prominent features in the levels. It's really cool to see. I will have to say, though, there are definitely some parts where there are a lot more positives than negatives, but there are still some negatives here. First off, there is quite a bit of slowdown, which, that's bound to happen. This is Sonic 06 after all. I do have some tips and tricks here in order to help assist you in case you are going through the same thing as well. First thing to do, try to ignore as many of the flying points as possible. It is very difficult to maintain the correct altitude with tails on the controller. I find it a lot easier to do so in Sonic Adventure, but that's kind of what happens when you grow up with it. As well as, here we have Crisis City, which we've seen multiple times before, but now we get to see it through Tails' perspective a little bit. Not a lot to expect here, just mainly focus on getting as many rings as possible and going on the grind rails to help automate things. And we have Tails' ring attack, which definitely doesn't get confusing if you get hit and then try to collect rings and get confused when they just walk all over. Now, with the dummy rings, one thing that I notice is that if the enemies land on them, then it still counts as an attack, which is kind of unique. It means you can kind of set up almost like a minefield, kind of, which that was definitely something that I did not really think of, but it's good to know it now. Again, the most important thing is to go on as many grind rails as possible. You really want to keep this automated, so that way it's less fault of your own if you lose here or anything like that. Here we have a bit of a gauntlet that we have to destroy with all the Tails rings, and I will let you know that there are no checkpoints in the levels. Kinda unique. But hey, I guess they just thought it was so short that anyone can do it. I also want to tell you that if you die at any point in this, you will have to restart it all from the beginning. That's not fun. Cool. Love that. Radical Train. Here you are going to want to think smarter, not harder, but not too smart, and also not that hard. I'll elaborate. What you want to do is you want to balance on the balance beams without spending too much time thinking about where you're going. Just try to get on and get off it as fast as possible. Now, you remember this part where we were Sonic, we had to go through and try to get through the train and damage it as fast as possible. Yeah, it's going to be just like that. It's nothing too complicated here, but it is still kind of unique in order to go through it. Now, we do still have some of the enemies that we have to destroy, and I will say that this is one of the levels that I really had to think about because I was having some difficulty with it. As well as I will happily tell you what characters we have coming up. We have Tails, Tails, Omega, and Blaze. That part's kind of cool. Now, what we are going to do is we are just going to be flying through here. I know I said to avoid the rings, but we're going to go through them anyway, just because why not? That's kind of how it works. So, here we can just do as much damage as we possibly can to the gigantic robots, and that's going to make things a lot easier for us. Although we still have a robot here. Now, despite there being enemies, you don't necessarily have to defeat all of them. You only have to do it if there are some gigantic red lines in the way that are stopping you from anything. So, other than that, you'll be quite fine. Now, while we are going through here, I did want to talk a little bit about the bachelor party that we recently had. It wasn't anything too crazy. We played Monopoly and had some water. That's a safe work version. We had some water. And it was really fun. We just had fun with our friends, talked, joked, and played Monopoly for 5 hours, which we did not really expect to happen, but these things, they happen. It was still very nice, and it's still exactly kind of what I wanted it to be. Nothing expensive or radical, just very nice, calm, collected, just a nice, fun time. Now we have Kingdom Valley, and here I want to say we have Tails again. I believe so. That's what I feel in my soul. To the Tails or Blaze? I'm gonna lock in Tails for the final answer. $200. Hey, look at that. Now, here we have some X lines that appear on the little launch pad, so you really kind of got to aim it properly. You got to get the timing right. But once you do, you'll be quite alright. There are multiple paths that you can take here if you really want to. It's up to you. Now, if you want to play the very final level or final part of this, you just have to go through it all over again. There's no way to just go through and skip it and just choose the correct area. But, hey, for a $5 DLC thing, it's still not bad. It's alright. What we're going to do is we're going to go all the way to the back and then aim and fire our little ring bombs at the enemies. And it's going to be a little difficult, but yeah, you kind of just got to figure it out. You know, like, there's not really some great ways to talk about it. But we got so much coming up. I cannot even tell you. Just look at the length of this video. The time trial on this alone took me 27 minutes. And that's without loading screens. So, lets you know that we're kind of in for a bit of a chonker of an episode. Which is kind of good because the next episode is going to be the finale. And that part I am very excited about. I recorded the gameplay. I haven't even recorded the audio yet. But I made sure to not watch the cutscenes. I just kind of let them play. So I still recorded it without paying attention to it. But I'm so excited that I'll save all my mushy gushy stuff for when we're actually at the end. Right now we're on Team Attack Amigo, and it's still unique to kind of see what different level layouts they had. And I know I said there's no checkpoints, but there are checkpoints. There's just no way in order to pause, exit, and then resume your progress. That's what I meant. But it's still kind of unique in order to see the different level layouts that were possible for some of the characters. Even as like an afterthought for DLC or whatever, it's still kind of unique to see it. Now, one thing that we will see coming up is that we will see one character that surprisingly gets quite a bit of attention. And if you've played the previous game, or one of them, then you will kind of understand what I'm talking about. But because of how difficult things will get further on, just get as many rings as possible. That's going to be the safest option here. You never know how many times you're going to die, so just kind of keep your brain on the rings. It really helps that they give you over 100 rings on this little slipstream alone. So definitely keep your eye on the ball, the mind, the game. You know what I'm talking about. I definitely try to get onto the grind rails just so it's less concentration, I guess, and also so it's a little bit faster. It will be grading you at the end, which kind of doesn't really matter because they don't show you the grading scale at the end. So, kind of not great if you were trying to go after every single S rank, which please don't do that. You get nothing. And I don't mean you get like a postcard like in Mario Sunshine. You literally get nothing. You get an achievement, nothing in game. So, really think about if you want to go after that or not. Just save yourself the time and trouble and be like, you know what? No, I'm alright. I don't want to do that. As well as finding all the Soliana medals. But there is a hidden one up right there, which is very fantastic. And now we're in Tropical Jungle as Blaze. Now, you can tell that this level was very heavily inspired by Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Just from the start, we would get to see how fast the movements are, how much it just so much resembles the green jungle, white jungle from Adventure 2 Battle. So look at how fast that Blaze is going. And it's giving me very much Green Frog, Island Forest vibes from Sonic Heroes as well. But, maybe this game just really wants me to play Sonic Heroes, which I sure hope not. That's gonna take a lot of convincing. Like, I'd have to probably treat that almost as if a trilogy. Just slowly do, like, one part, leave, come back to another part, leave, come back to another part, leave, come back to another part, and then the end. Because it is quite time-consuming and very repetitive, but that's by nature. Like, I really just kind of wish it was a little bit better, a little more uniquely laid out, but meh. You can only do so much. Okay, so you can see here that Blaze can still run into the checkpoints, which is fantastic. Now we have some tight platforming here, which you can tell I almost fall off immediately. Now, Blaze does have a homing attack, which is very nice because it is the button that we would typically use for the bounce or the light speed dash as Sonic. So the fact that it is a slightly different button kind of makes it a little easier to focus on. As well as if there is no enemy in front of us, then Blaze will just try to do a fast dash forward, which it's not easy to understand how it works. So you kind of just got to trial and error. And if you see anything floating in the air, just ignore it. Just don't go for it. Just ignore it. Play it safe. You don't want to think too hard about anything. And here we have some very lovely grind rails. And apparently if you press the B button or the X button, depending on what you're playing on, then Blaze and the others will actually do a little turn from the Sonic Heroes games, which kind of weird that they're putting so many not-Sonic heroes in this game. I figure they kind of want to focus on some of the... I won't say better, that's mean. Some of the previous games, some of the earlier previous games. Then we have a gold ring right in the sky. Now we have Aquatic Base, and this is going to be the last Blaze level, actually. Which, I know, kind of unique, but meh, these things, they happen. For Aquatic Base, we are going to see something very similar to Sonic's portion, which, you know, go figure. And it's kind of lame, because it just kind of feels like we're playing through the same level, but with Blaze instead of Sonic. Now, you are going to want to be careful here, because it is very easy to die a lot in this level. And believe me, if I say it, then you know it's very easy to die here. You're definitely going to want to try to keep your distance. Remember that Blaze does have a double jump, and it does get really good range. So you're going to want to try to practice the jumps before you commit to them, and you'll probably do alright. Now, there is not a really good way in order to avoid the lasers, so you're just going to see me run around in circles a little bit, or just try to make it through there, and then, lo and behold, we get smacked in the face with a laser anyway. Now, this part is cool, because if you have it at just the right angle, you can do the Flame Tornado, and it is fantastic to watch that go through every single thing. But thankfully, there is another one up right there. And as you can tell, I died right there. It's easy to die in this game. I don't know if you noticed. But after activating those two things, we are now at roughly about the halfway point-ish, kinda. There's going to be some floating platforms here, which, fantastic. Who doesn't love that? Oh, right, me. I don't love that. Why would I like that? But with the floating platforms, we're just going to try to maneuver ourselves all the way over there in a very nice way, even if we are cutting it very close. Now, when you are doing the Flame Tornado, you will not be able to jump. I know it's lame, but whatever. We can't do a whole lot about it. Now, if you want to try to just homing attack the green totem pole, you can. Why did I say green? It's blue. You can try to. I would not recommend it. Which is why you're going to see me standing here waiting for the platforms to come back slowly in order for us to move forward, because as much as I want to try to do this ASAP, as soon as Sonic, no, that'd be ASAS, as soon as Sonic, I also don't want to keep dying, because I did legitimately get a game over and had to restart, which, not fun, but these things, they happen. So the most important thing is to try to take your time while also go fast. I know that's kind of redundant to say, but it is true. You just gotta go the right pace. And what the right pace is, that's different for everyone. The right pace for you might be slower than my pace. The right pace for someone else might be a lot faster. It's completely up in the air. But if you can do better, awesome, go for it. I'm not gonna be upset. If you do slower, it's fine. It's all about beating the game at the end. So don't worry about it. There we go. Thank you, Blaze. And now we're back over to another checkpoint. Now, the cool thing is that this is going to be the last Blaze level, but it's not the last of the Team Attack Amigo. We actually have a few other levels with one other character that I guess the developers thought didn't get enough screen time. So we're going to be getting that soon as well. Oh yeah, same thing. So funny thing with the Flame Tornado, if you are, no matter what speed you start it at, you're going to maintain that speed. So if you start slow, you're going to be moving slow. If you go fast, you're going to be moving fast. So definitely try to spin around a bit before you do the flame tornado, just to help ease everything out, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to feel better and be more fun and fluid when you have the speed to back it up. Now for here, you don't really have to worry about too much, except for getting touched by a robotic foot, which, cool, didn't know that could do damage, but whatever. Anything's possible in this game nowadays. And apparently he formed giant... whatever. End goal. Dusty Desert. Now we are doing this with everyone's favorite character that just did not get enough screen time. It's the one, the only, the fantastic, the monotoned, slightly sarcastic, E102 Omega. Now here, you're just going to kind of avoid all the level design. Just to make things easier on yourself, just jump and then start hovering. That's honestly going to be the easiest thing in order to get as far as possible. Now there are quite a lot of gauntlets in this level, so you really kind of want to try to play it safe. Like, try to do your best to not fail. And if you are running low on rings or anything, just kind of back up, get some cover, fire, and try to... Okay, well, I guess we're going down here now. Luckily, it's not a end zone, so that's good. But yes, there are going to be quite a lot of areas here where there's going to be lots of enemies that we have to destroy with the inconsistent Omega attacks. Now, there are two attacks that I found out. One of them is just the regular no-nonsense blast. The other one is kind of like a homing attack, very similar to the Barracuda from Halo, if you remember that. So to do the homing one, you're going to hold it and then release it after it has been charging up a little bit. For the regular one, you're just going to press the button as many times as possible. You can see here, I held it, charged it, and then it homing attacked. That is exactly what we're wanting. We want it to just go right to the enemy. We don't want to think too much about it because thinking hurts our heads. That's okay, it happens to all of us. I started reading a book and it hurt my head. Not because it was bad or anything, but because it's supposed to be like a motivational self-help book. And on the third page, literally page 3, there is a fairy godmother that was a guy. First off, very forward, but they were dressed in golf uniform, and I'm just like, what's going on here? This is this does not make any sense whatsoever. This is the third page. Like, maybe a greeting card or something saying, you will be visited by your fairy godmother, or something like that. Not just like, poof, there he is. I'm like, what? Best thing to do here is to keep your distance, try to do the homing attack in order to help eliminate the robot, and yeah, that's definitely what's going to help assist. I did mention earlier that this was originally going to be a collaboration with Sarmeister, because Sarmeister was available, and I was able to ask Sarmeister some questions. I'll be happy to relay you some of the answers. Sarmeister's favorite Sonic character is Shadow. He believes Amy is underutilized and overlooked quite often, thinks that Amy could have some hidden potential, and the first game that I ever played in order to get him into the Sonic series was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. So, it's kind of nice to have that information, and if you are wondering why I didn't just upload the video of all of it, someone accidentally left the desktop audio on, and if you are not a recorder or streamer, what that means was everything that they were listening to is also picked up in the audio. So you have myself talking twice, but due to the internet, it is at it's inconsistently delayed. So even if I line it up for 1 second, that doesn't mean it's lined up forever. So after a sentence, then it will be unaligned, and it's just a unique situation. I even tried to do the noise reduction technique, and that did not help, unfortunately. So, live and learn. These things, they happen. But still, I'm still glad to have Sar on the channel quite a few times, especially in the one-off videos where we're gaming with friends, such as for Lethal Company, Fall Guys, that kind of stuff. So still, it's nice to show it a little bit. I was genuinely trying to get a Team Attack Amigo thing with a friend, but I guess this wasn't meant to be, and due to time constraints, just kind of gotta work with what you got. I'd rather redo the audio than give y'all something that even I wouldn't really want to listen to. But we do have a bunch more enemies here. This is the gauntlet that I was talking about previously, where there's a lot of enemies, and it's just a lot of homing attacks and keeping your distance and trying to destroy as many of them as possible, and it is just unique. But still, it's still nice in order to go through and beat this, because I had never been it before. Way to go, Omega. So what we're doing here is we are just saving up the homing attacks, using them, and trying to get through the level. And then we have one more level after this, and then a surprise as well. Now, I'm pretty excited about the surprise, because I was not expecting it at all, and then lo and behold, surprise, it happened. I'm like, oh, cool, cool. Now, you do not have to defeat all the enemies here, it just helps. But when you're already down to 0 rings multiple times, you don't really take any chances. You're like, okay, I'd rather just fight them and get them over with. Yeah, see, we didn't even have to kill them all, just most of them. What that quota was, I'm not sure, and I'll never know. But that's okay. Alright. I think we are getting close to the end, and then we have White Acropolis next. That one's unique. That's the nice way of me putting it. White Acropolis is kind of just a blanket stage. It's there. It's very easy to forget. Kind of looks more like a Call of Duty or a Halo map than a Sonic level, but meh, you know, things happen. You can't really take control over the designers and make it better. Plus, it takes practice in order to get everything going. I did have to pause here just because something was happening, but then we were resuming just like everything was fine. What we have to do here is we have to, get this, destroy a bunch of enemies in order to activate the switch. I know, it's insane. Who would have ever possibly thought of that? Now you can try to go up to the door to get it to open. That might not work. So, if one door doesn't open, then just go to another door. Now here we have laser beams that are going to activate and deactivate. Now if you are in the way, then your homing shell will actually not go through, which is really dumb. That part I really don't understand. I guess they were afraid of people speed running and just getting hit once and then spin dashing through them. I don't know, something like that. Now you're gonna see me kind of freak out a little bit here because I was like, it's getting close. You go, Omega. One of my favorite things to do in Sonic Adventure was definitely play as E102 Gamma and just like roll around to get enough speed to where it would go into vehicle mode, and you just see like the little tire tracks made in the sand. Oh, it was so cute. Such great attention to detail. And if you were hovering over water, E102 Gamma would turn into like a helicopter thing and just hover over the water so he wouldn't get wet. It was so cute. They put so much attention to detail in that game. No wonder it's my favorite. Hello, goodbye. Now, I will say that I have recently gotten a new capture card. You are not seeing it yet, but you will start seeing it come next week. So with the new Let's Play, then you start to see the new capture card. I think it looks really good. I enjoy it. It allows me to get exactly 1080p, 60 FPS, exactly. And previously I've only been able to do 720p at 60 FPS, so to get something at the exact level, that's fantastic. I legitimately cannot wait for it. That and to show all of you, as well as I can, I enjoy it. I'm so busy trying to explain why it's cool. And I'm like, you know, you're just gonna see it, okay? Like it is night and day. And so, I'm ready, because with the Elgato that I'm been currently using, I've modified the settings quite a bit and then just forgot to undo the settings, so it doesn't look as exact as it would be if you were to just go and buy the game and play it on the TV yourself. So, I cannot wait for that to happen, for you to see what the games look like. I'm very excited. As you can see here, I'm just kind of trying to cheese the level here, because sweet goodness, why would I want to go through here? The robots are going to try to attack you. Just keep your distance, or just punch them in the face. That also works. But we are getting close to the end here, which that I'm so ready for. I have been tired, and it doesn't matter how much sleep I get. I'm still tired. I'm working on it. Don't worry. But still, it's a work in progress. Now you don't have to defeat those enemies. I just thought you did because I did not realize that the laser beam screen went off. So again, you don't have to defeat the enemies here. I just did it because I thought I did. So, just keep that in mind. Because more do appear and you're just like, oh great, even more enemies for me to defeat. Now, you do get 100 score for each enemy you defeat. Not really worth it. Just saying. And because I was dumb, I was like, oh wait, it's not done. It's not down yet. And I'm like, oh, there it is. Whack. Gamma isn't that smart. But then again, he's only a robot. He can only do so much. Now here, you don't have to fight these enemies here, which is awesome. You can just go all the way to as close to the end as possible and then just start going backwards. That's what I like to do, because any way to speed this all up is fantastic. We've been through quite a few episodes of Sonic 06. I think all of us are like, yeah, let's see how this ends, because my goodness. And I'm still excited and still very thankful that I got to show off a bunch of the DLC. But still, I'm kind of tired of this game. I'm like, I'm so glad we're so close to the end. I'm tired of this game. Now, I'm not as tired of this game as I was Sonic Frontiers. I was super tired of Sonic Frontiers. Like, to the point where I uninstalled it the second I finished. I'm like, we're done? Sweet goodness, we're finally done. Here, I still have it installed. It's not the worst thing ever. I'm sure something will come up and I'll be like, oh yeah, here, let me do that again, because why not, you know? Something will happen. Now, as to what the next Sonic game's gonna be, not even a clue. No idea. We will get there when we get there. And if you're wondering what the next game is going to be, well, you gotta wait to see the next episode, to see the finale, to see what exactly the next game is going to be. I'll tell you what though, it'll make my fiance happy. Because there's a specific game that I've not touched yet that I know the fiance is definitely looking forward to. Okay, we are now on the very final level, which is Egg Genesis. That's right, they threw in a boss fight for Omega. Now, how do you fight this boss? Same way you've been fighting all the other enemies. Hold, charge, and release. As well as, there's not even a title card saying defeat Egg Genesis or congrats on Team Attack Amigo. Nothing like that at all. Just the blank screen, because why not? That's just what we got here. But now that it is done loading, it's Egg Genesis. There's not a lot to say here. You just shoot at it and deal damage to it. And thankfully, because Omega has the homing attacks, you don't have to wait for specific areas. You can just attack it as much as you can. So you can definitely do it a lot faster than I am. But, meh, these things, they happen. Can't guarantee everything's gonna go well, you know? But I am just so much. I have so much planned for all of us. Speaking of that, I have recently uploaded a 150 subscriber AMA special. So AMAs Ask Me Anything. You can go to that video. I'll link it at the end of this video. You can go there, leave a comment, ask a question, ask as many questions as you want, and I will happily answer any and all of them once we hit 150 subscribers. And there's even a face reveal. Ooh! Yes, if you have any questions at all, even if they're questions that I've already asked, go ahead, ask. It'll be so much fun to answer all the questions, because I have no idea what all of you question. Like, most of the time, I watch videos and then don't even comment on them or like them myself. So, I just watch them and enjoy them and keep watching them. So, meh. Just taking the time to comment is one of the greatest things that ever happens, because I get the notification and I immediately go to check it, read the comment, and I heart it or respond or both to let you know that I've seen it. And I really couldn't do any of this without y'all. Just having the motivation to keep playing these games, it's definitely thanks to you. Even when I am tired and had caffeine, but it's still not kicking in, it still helps give me the strength to keep going, just knowing that I have at least one person that watches, let alone 140. I couldn't imagine what I would do if there was even more. So I'm very grateful with where I'm at so far, and just absolutely astonished at how far I've gone, how many games I've completed that I've always wanted to complete but never did. It really does mean a lot. Okay, but this is Egg Genesis. You know how this ends. It doesn't just end when the health bar runs out. No, it's going to target us and start falling towards us until it ends and there's a big explosion like Michael Bay directed it. And it takes its sweet time falling too. So, there we go. Yes, so we got 41,460 points. It only took us 27.5 minutes. And that's not including the loading screens. The loading screens made it 31 minutes. Awesome. Yeah, whatever. So, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the finale. Goodbye, my Bears!